basic rendition of this song has two chords, an F major and a C major chord, and I'm sure you don't want to play it with these simple chords because it will sound very bland and boring. It'll sound something like this. Probably how it will be written in any basic hymn book. The technique that I'm going to describe to you will work with any song. What you see in front of you is a simple one-finger rendition of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. So you can do this with any piece of music, no matter how complicated that piece of music looks. Forget all the other notes on the page and just reduce it down to the melody. That's just the top line of notes. Those are the only notes that you will need to complete this process. So take your song and strip away all the extraneous notes so that you just have, as an example, what you see in front of you. Just the melody. That's all you need. You see, I even went as far as labeling each one of the notes for those of you who can't read music or are not that well versed in recognizing the notes. Now you see that this particular piece is written in the key of F. Now each one of those notes that I have labeled corresponds to a number. This entire gospel chords played by the number system is based on numbers, and we're going to go through a very complete example of how this works. So each one of the notes in the F scale corresponds to a number. The first note that you see there is a C. So the next step in the process is you're going to convert all of the letter notes to the corresponding numbers. For example, in the scale of F, that C is the fifth note in the F scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a C. So we would label that one with a 5. The next note, the F, is the first note in the F scale. So we would label that one with a 1. So we're going to go through the process of labeling each one of those notes and converting them to their numeric equivalent so that we essentially reduce this song to a string of numbers, and those numbers will correspond to the melody note for this particular song. The end result is what you see in front of you, a numeric version of the song. And what you see here is really all you need to now play the song with the full, fancy, gospel, beautiful voicings. Just these numbers that you see in front of you. After you've completed the course, you will know which chords go with which numbers. So each one of these numbers has a chord associated with it. For example, when you see the 5 there, that's telling you to open up your volume 3 and go to the chapter on the 5 and pick one of the chords that are available to voice on that particular word, hark. And when you go to the next tone, the 1, you open up the chapter on the 1, and it will give you the chord to play on the 1. And it works that way throughout the song. When you get to the 4, you'll open up the chapter on the 4, and you'll play the chord that it tells you to play for that particular voicing. And there's not just one chord that you can play for a particular number. There are lots of choices, so your music will never sound the same. You'll never play the song the same way twice. So like I said, this process works on any song. Just simply reduce it down to the numbers, then use the reference material to determine which voicing appeals to you. If you open up the reference manual and choose a chord to harmonize on the 5 is that C for the word hark. the chord that you're going to find is an A minor 7 sharp 5. Very pretty chord. Right there, you see? There's the 5. The 5 is right on top. That's your suspension. So that's going to be the first chord that you're going to use to harmonize on the word hark. Very pretty. A minor 7 sharp 5. And like I said, if you don't like this particular chord, there are lots of other chords in that chapter on the 5. Remember, the 5 corresponds to that C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C is the 5th note in the F scale. So we have a whole chapter of chords that you can choose from to play that have that C on top. And that just happens to be one of your choices. The next note that we numbered is a 1. That's the F. Hark the hair. So that F is a number 1. So we simply open up our book to the chapter on the 1. That's volume number 3. And it will give us a choice of voicings that we can choose to harmonize on the words the hair. Those are 2 1s. Now, we probably don't want to repeat the same voicing twice, so in this particular instance, we're going to choose 2 chords, and we're going to play one of them on the word the, and another one of them on the word hair, so we can get a different voicing on each one. So the particular voicing that it wants us to use on the word the is a B flat 6 add 9. Very pretty chord. Now in that same chapter, like I said, there's another 1 that we need to play for the word hair. So let's choose another chord in that same chapter, and another available chord is an E flat 9 add 6. That gives us a nice movement from B flat to E flat. Very pretty change there. So now we have the first 3 words of the song harmonized. We've taken care of the 5 and the 1. So we've got, hark. Okay. Now the next note that it wants us to harmonize on is the word owl, the last part of the word herald. And that is a major 7. Open up to the chapter on the major 7 and see what chord it wants us to choose or play to harmonize on the major 7. And you're going to see that you're going to find this D9 sus, very pretty chord that we're going to play on the word out. And again, 7. We found that in the chapter on the 7, the major 7, because that's what note we're on here. E is a major 7 in the key of F. That's the 7th tone. So we chose a chord in that chapter so that we have this melody note on top, and it gave us this very pretty D9 sus.